I'll try to do a better job for you. Now, please listen. All right. So if I said to you this, just look up. If I said x times y equals 0, what has to be true? One of them has to be 0. Is everybody hearing me? If x times y is 0, one of them has to be 0. Do they both have to be 0? Could they both be 0? Yeah, but at least one of them has to be 0. All right, that's called the 0 property. When you multiply two things together, it's 0. One of them is 0. All right, so what exactly does that mean for us right here? One of these has to be 0. All right, one of these has to be 0. So what exactly does that mean? That means 3x plus 1 has to equal 0, or 2x minus 5 has to equal 0. That's how easy. And now you just solve those individual equations. All right. When you solve this individual equation, 3x equals -1. So x equals what? -1/3. Or I add 5, 2x equals 5. X equals what? 5/2. Now, in the past, we've always only had what? One answer. All right. Now we have another equation, all right, in which there are going to be two answers. This is called a quadratic. All right. It's said to be an x squared. So if you have an x squared, there are going to be how many solutions? There's going to be two solutions. All right. So the rule is, come on, the rule is factor, set the factors equal to 0, and then solve. The problem here with number 1 is it's already what? It's already factored for us. Thank you very much. It's already factored. So step 2, set the factors equal to 0. Step 3, solve the individual equations. That's it. That's it. Everyone in here knows how to solve a one or a two-step equation. All right. If you don't believe me, that's what we're doing in my pre-algebra class right now. All right. So you've already done this for a long time. All right. It's just a matter of understanding now what I'm doing. All right. You're factoring, setting the factors equal to 0. All right. Aiden, what?
Oh, I just figured it out.
Okay, good. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to go number 2 for a quick second. Is it already factored for us? Yes. So what do I have to do? Set the factors equal to 0. So x equals 0 is a factor, and 2x minus 5 equals 0. So is the first one already solved for us? Yeah, it's just x equals 0. Now, those of you guys who are good, I don't want you to do plus 5 anymore. I don't want you to do divided by 2 anymore. I think everybody in here should be able to say x just equals what? 5/2. If you can't do that, literally you're a year and a half behind. All right. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want to show you if you're not sure. All right. I'm just saying, come on, you've matured a little bit. Your brain can absorb more of this now. All right. If you don't know how I got 5/2, I wish you would raise your hand. I don't mean it as an insult. Right. Everyone should be able to do a two-step equation. Anybody have any trouble with number 2? All right. So because you paid attention. Wow. Now how many terms, how many factors are there? So how many solutions are there going to be? Yes, that's correct. So you just set the individuals equal to 0. Now, some of you are like, wow, do I really have to write x equals 0? Do I really have to write x minus 8 equals 0? Do I really have to write 2x minus 5 equals 0? I would, because it's a new topic. I would, because it's a new topic. So what are my answers now? X equals 0. X equals 8. Yes, those are your 3 solutions. Now, I want to make this perfectly clear, so please listen up. Try not to daydream. If I plugged in x equals 0 for for this x, and this x, what would my answer be? Wow, thank you. 0. If I plugged in 8, let's say I plugged in 8 for this x, and this x, what would my answer be? Say it again. 0. What would happen if I were to take this 5/2 and plug it in for this x, and this x? What would I get? 0. That's exactly correct. You have 3 possible answers. In the past, we've only had what? 1 answer. All right. This one is called a cubic. The reason it's called a cubic is because x times 2x is 2x cubed. That's why they call it a cubic. This is called the fundamental theorem of algebra. The exponent is the number of solutions there are. So if you had x to the 5th, there would be how many solutions? 5, and so on and so forth. All right, very easy. All right, let's go down now. Now we have a problem with number 4. The reason why we have a problem with number 4 is because the other problems were easy because they were already what? Factored. Now we have got to factor to do it. And because some of you don't know how to factor, this is a problem. All right. Now, whenever you factor, I said the first thing you always do is you look for a GCF. What's the GCF for those of you guys who know how to do this? 3 what? 3x. Come on, join the class. It's not too late. All right, it really isn't too late to be great at this. So I throw down a 3x. Now you're supposed to divide each by 3x. And when I divide each by 3x, I get what? X minus 2. Come on, this is not difficult. This is not difficult. And I'm really, truly wish some of you guys, and it's not like I don't know. I'm trying to tell you, you can't get better if you're not brave enough to raise your hand and say, please give me a little bit of help. I don't care what my neighbor says. When you walk out the door, no one's laughing at you because you don't know something. All right, you've got to be brave enough to say, hey, man, give me a little bit of help. Now, I just said I factored here. Now, this is now exactly like what? The problem's up here. After you factor, you do what? Set the factors equal to 0. So now I'm going to do 3x equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0. So x is either what? 0, or x could be what? 2. Now, what would happen if I'd plug 0 in for x and 0 in for x? I would get what? 0. What happens if I plug 2 in for x and 2 in for x? I would get 0. Can I plug in 0 and 2 at the same time? No, x can't be 2 different numbers at the same time. It can only be one number. That's why it's technically x could be 0 or what? 2. X can't be 0 and 2. Peter, go. All right, here we go. Let's try number 5 just to see if you're paying attention. Quickly, do number 5. You got 30 seconds. Come on, come on, come on. And now you're judging yourself. Do I know what I'm doing? Was I paying attention enough? Because number 4 is exactly like number what? 5. Exactly the same. All right, what's GCF? 3x? 9x is a little better. 3x, because you want the greatest. All right, and does it really matter? At the end, it really wouldn't have mattered in this case, but in some cases it will matter. But we want the GCF. GCF is 9x, open parentheses. What's left behind? X minus 2. So if you know that, you know what you're doing. Now, the next step is set the factors equal to 0. So now we write 9x equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0. So x could either be what? 0 or 2. Those are your answers, 0 or 2. That's it. Mr. Greep, how am I doing? Don't tell me good if it's not good. All right, that's not helping you. All right, it's really not. Come on, I want to give everybody an A. All right, here we go. I'm on 7 now. This one should be an easy one to factor. So you should be almost done factoring it. Put your hand down. Come on, let's go. Everybody's factoring 7. And now you're going to judge yourself. Do I know what I'm doing? This is supposed to be an easy factoring because the leading coefficient is a what? 1. It's supposed to be easy. Ten more seconds. All right, Mr. Greep, go. X and what?
Oh,
X and X. That's how you break it down. Now you're what? Now what are the factors of 20? That can be 1. One and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Which one should I use? 1 and 20, 2 and 10, or 4 and 5? Okay, does 1 and 20 make a 1? You know what I mean? I either have to add or subtract. Does 1 plus 20 or 20 minus 1 equal 1? That would be a no. 2 and 10. Add and subtract 2 and 10. Can I make a 1? No. Why do 4 and 5 work? Because you can make a 1. So we throw down a 4, throw down a 5. Now, here's where the smiley faces come in. I want it to be -1. Make the 4 what? Positive, and the 5 what? Mr. Greep. Because look, I'm trying to get this piece of the puzzle. That's a -1. Do you hear me? I'm trying to get -1. This smiley face right here gives me 4x. This smiley face right there gives me -5x. If I add 4x and -5x, I get -1x, which is the middle term. Now you can say, slow down a little bit, please, and explain that one more time. You're allowed to say that. You sure you got it? Because I'm going to make you do the next one until you get it right. You understand that? All right. So after we factor, guys, what's the next step? X plus 4 equals 0. That's right. X plus 4 equals 0. X minus 5 equals 0. So now X equals either -4 or X is equal to what? 5. Mr. Greep, did I solve that for you okay? Do you know what I did from this step to this step? And from this step to this step? The factoring is a problem. I understand that. All right. You good with that? All right, here we go. Let's look at 8. Luke, what? Oh, wow. Look who's come to life over there. All right, Mr. Greep, you hear me? And there's no reason why you can't do this. All right, put down 2 sets of parentheses, Mr. Greep. How do I make x squared again? Come on, don't get frustrated. Yes, x times x gives me x squared. Are you with me on this? And now I want what do I multiply the factors of 32 that make 14? Well, There's 1 and 32. There's 2 and 16. There's 4 and 8. Why? Wow, welcome. You hear me, right? You can do that. Now, the hard part is listing all the what? All the factors of 32, because not many people know the factors of 32. Right? So we're going to throw down a 2 and we're going to throw down a 16. Now, why did he say the 16 was positive and the 2 was negative? Because I want a positive middle term. Thank you, people. I want a positive 14. So the 16 is the one that's going to be positive. You with me on this, Mr. Greep? Because your smiley faces that you did so good at, where you were constantly doing that and that, training your brain to see those two factors. So this is a positive 16 and a negative 2. And so now what? X minus 2 equals 0. X plus 16 equals 0. So X equals 2 or X equals, help me, negative 16. Those are my answers. Leah, how am I doing? Right? Anybody have a problem? All right, here we go. We're on 10. Now, 10 is annoying, Mr. Greep. The reason 10 is annoying is because it's a little bit harder because this right here is 2x squared. You hear me? So I need you to put 2 sets of parentheses instead of x and x. Come on, get up, wake up. Come on, you got this. How do I make 2x squared? What do I multiply to make 2x squared, bud? Now remember, x times x is x squared. I want 2x squared this time. So what do I need to put down? Yes, 2x and what? Yes. Come on, write that down. Now, what are the middle factors of 20, people? 5 and 4. Mr. Greep, I'm going to put 5 and 4. You're supposed to know, Mr. Greep, that 4 cannot go here. The reason it can't go here is because it has a common factor with 2. Do you understand what I just said? So where am I going to put the 4? On the other side. So I throw down a 4 over here, and I throw down a 5 over here. And then I make my smiley faces. How much is that, Mr. Greep? How much is this? Can I make 13 with 5 and 8? 5 plus 8 is what?
Oh, wait. 5 plus 8?
Yep, what's that? You see what I'm saying, right? You have to multiply this out and multiply this out and say, hey, is it possible for me to make negative 13 with those numbers? You hearing me or not? Is it possible to make negative 13? If they're both what? Positive or negative? Yes, I think you're right. Why negative, Mr. Greep? Because how much would this be right here? Yes, and how much would this be? And how much would that add up to? Yes. And now watch me, one last. Negative 5 times negative 4, positive 20. You hear me? All right, I'm happy with that. All right, I'm not giving you a hard time. All right. Anybody else having a hard time? All right. I mean, the only way to get past the hard time is try. All right, and do your work. It's hard to do your work when you don't know. I understand that too. All right, so here we go. We're going on to number 11. What?
Would be 3x and right?
Yes. Now, Bruin, I mean it now. We're putting 3x and x here. You're not allowed to write 3x and x if you don't know it's 3x and x. You know that, right? All right, now what are we going to use next?
4.
All right, I like it. We're going to try 4 and 4. I'm not saying you're right. I'm saying that's what we're trying.
4 is 12 and then 4x.
is 12x and 4x. Can that make 2x? You with me? No, put your hands down. He's doing good. So now instead of 4 and 4, we're going to use what? Two and 8. Where do you want the 2 to go? Where do you want the 8 to go? Well, I'm just going to do it wrong. 8 and 2. Now, why is that wrong? Right, because what's 3 times 8? And what's this? 24 and 2 doesn't make 2. Does it, Mr. Greep? And you can say, I'm asking though, do you understand that's not working? Now, do you understand why it's frustrating? Because now I have to do what? I have to erase. All right, so now I have to take my 2 and my 8 and move my 8 and my 2. And now I ask myself, does that work, Aiden?
Yeah.
Why?
Because 8x and then that'll be 6x.
Wow, 8x and 6x. I put 8x and 6x. And now I want the 8 to be what? Negative. And I want the other one to be, there you have it. Mr. Greep, are you okay with that? You sure? All right, now we just set them equal to 0. 3x minus 8 equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0. And solve that out for me. So x equals down here. Now we're just writing the answer. I'm not doing plus 8, divide by 3 anymore. That's boring. So this is what? X equals 8/3 or x equals, beautiful. All right, I'm happy with that. Does everybody understand now why, if you don't know factoring, this is impossible, right? All right, impossible. If you know factoring, this is what? Easy. All right, here we go. Let's check out 13. 13 is a hard one. All right, so what am I going to start with? Caroline, what am I starting with? Yeah, we want to just start out with 3x and 2x. Mr. Gree, why do we start out with 3x? Do you know? And 2x? Why? Because I want 6x squared. But why didn't I do 6x and x? That's a possibility. Do you agree with this? All right, but we always start with the middle ones. You with me? So she said 3x and 2x. Now, why is 36 super annoying? Because there's a lot of them. Can I choose 6 and 6? No, there'd be nowhere to put them. Because you can't have common factors. What? 4 and 9. Where does the 4 have to go? The 4 has to go with the 3, and the 9 has to go with the what? Now they don't have any common factors. Now, Mr. Greep, you do your smiley face. What numbers do I have, Caroline, for my smiley face? Does 8x and 27x make 19x? If the what? If the 27 is negative and the 4 is? Yes. Now I don't want to go too fast, Mr. Greep. You okay with that? You sure? Come on now. All right. I really want to help some of you this Friday. All right. I really want to help you. If you can show me you know how to factor, I can go back and help the last grade. All right. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? If you can't factor, you can't do Friday. If you already know how to do factoring, then Friday is going to be what? Easy. All right. You good with this? Anybody? All right, here we go. So now we have to set the factors equal to 0. So everybody's just going to write 3x plus 4 equals 0. 2x minus 9 equals 0. X equals what? What? Thank you. Negative 4/3. Someone else speak up now. Come on, guys. Don't let the same people do it. Go. Beautiful. There we go. All right, 14. Oh, this one's kind of annoying too. Two sets of parentheses. All right, Palmer, what do I got? 4x and 3x. We could have done what? 6 and 2. We could have done 12 and 1. All right, factors of 15. Where do you want the 5 to go?
Goes on the right.
On the right, where does 3 go? Let's see if he's correct. How much is this? How much is this? That's close, but is that correct? No. That's right. Well, we could do 15 and 1, right? But 15 would make it what? Does everybody understand? No matter where I put 15, 15 would have to go here, right? But 15 times 3 is 45. That's way too big. Do we agree? All right, so he was right. Instead of 4 and 3, we have to make it now what? Let's try 6 and 2. 6x and 2x. Now, is that okay with everybody? All right, now where do I want the 5 and where do I want the 3? Where does the 3 have to go? It has to go on the right because 3 can't go with 6. So what do I have here? 10 and 18. Does that work? If they're both what? If they're both negative. Mr. Greep, how's that? Seriously, you making progress, right? I mean it. Don't sit there and not know now. All right, come on. And so now we set the factors equal to 0. So 6x minus 5 equals 0. 2x minus 3 equals 0. And so now what? What is my solution? X equals, thank you, 5 over 6. Or, yes, 3 over 2. All right, come on, guys. The fun continues. Yeah, I cut you a break here, notice too. We only have 54. You're welcome. Uh-oh, we got a problem here. What's the problem? GCF. What's GCF? There's a common 2. All right, so now look up. Look up, look up, look up. You can divide out the constants. Divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. Everybody's got to do that for me. When I divide by 2, what do I get? X squared minus 4x plus 4 still is 0. Okay, let's factor that. Come on, get on it. Because there's not a common X,
Oh,
right? The 8 doesn't have an X. Agreed?
Yeah.
Good for you, man. Come on. Come on, Mr. Wash. Someone else get involved here. Go ahead.
minus 2, and then x minus 2.
Yes, sir. X minus 2, X minus 2.
And then 2. Well, then you bring them down, x minus 2.
Now, do I have to write it twice here? Do I want to write X minus 2 equals 0, X minus 2 equals 0? No, we don't want to do that because it's the same answer. So we say X equals what? X equals 2. Then I want everybody to put in parentheses. This is called a double root. That just means, I don't know why they call it a root, all right? But it's called a double root. The reason it's called a double root is because that number occurs how many times? Twice. That number occurs twice. All right, so everybody take a look at number 17. What should I do first on 17? GCF is 3. So I want everyone to divide it by what? 3. Everybody start out by dividing by 3. Come on, come on. All right, Liv, when I divide by 3, what do we get? Yes, go. What are you thinking about, kiddo? We're just doing this. 30, you're dividing each term by 3. That's why this is a 1x squared. We do 3 divided by 3, got a 1. 30 divided by 3. Yes. Divide that. Good. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, now we're doing our parentheses. What do we got? X and X. 5 and 5. What? Add them both. What kind of 5? -5, and then put double roots. All right, I don't care, right? If you write double root on your test or whatever, I'm just trying to get you used to what they're going to tell you. All right, hold on. Let me explain what I want you to do. All right, I want you to do let's do 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, just do everything up all the way to 18. All right, all the way to 18. Tomorrow we'll finish.